This is Sunny Five Side with Jeff Walker, our 5th or 6th episode. I had to confer with you on that, Jeff, but we are talking sports. We are consistent. We are putting the issues out there, and we are delving into the world of sports and taking everything on. We have a beautiful platform and beautiful guests with us today. I'm your host, Baruti Carl Alexander. You see the shirt, Sunny Five Side. There you go right there. The president has one on also. And we look forward to our conversations. I have Brother Phil, I have Brother Gregory Nauls, and we're going to delve into it. We may be joined by some other people. We'll look forward to that. But we're going to get started. Brother Greg, you just mentioned about the Astros. Did that hurt your heart?
Oh man, it didn't hurt my heart, but I love Dusty, man. But after Framberg got in trouble in the first inning, man, I would have used everything I had in the bullpen. Next, my starting rotation, anything I had to try to get that game back under control. Man, we had a hard time at home, man. It seemed like we just couldn't get nothing to click at home, man. It kind of devastated me because I wanted to see him win another one, man. I knew he was going to retire, but I didn't want him to go out like he did, man. But he's still a champ in my eyes, man.
Oh, the one game I saw, that boy Adolfo Garcia was just tearing things up. He's tearing everything up. Yes, it was that time this time. Brother Greg, go ahead and introduce yourself up from the first time on the show.
Well, thank you guys for inviting me, man. My name is Gregory Nauls. I'm a Jack Yates alumni. I started there in '77. I started in the secondary and ended up middle linebacker, man, because I couldn't intercept no balls, but I could knock people around. So that became my forte. I was a hitter, man, and I appreciate everything that Jack Yates instilled in me. I went on to play at Texas State University is what they call it now, but when I went, it was Southwest Texas State. And had a couple of good seasons and blowed out a knee on the right side and an ankle on the left side and had to call it quits, man. But I love the game, and just because I can't play it don't mean I don't have no emotions about it, because I'm a diehard Cowboy fan, man.
Well, just an aside, one of our guests that was supposed to be here, he has a problem with Cowboys, and we got somebody who loves Cowboys, then we got a problem somebody who hate Cowboys. So it would have been interesting. We'll see.
Yeah.
Phil, what you say about the Astros?
Well, you can't win at home. Most sports, that's the way you go where you need to go to get where you need to get.
Yeah.
How do you deserve to go anywhere when you can't win at home? Your own bed, your own stadium, your own dugout. That's just my opinion. And of course, I love Dusty. Hate that he had to retire, but he did everything. 26 years of managing, 19 years of playing. And to be honest, he should have won a World Series with the Giants when he had Barry Bonds.
Yes, he should have.
Okay. So, and then he blew, well, I ain't gonna say he blew it, but they did the same thing when they lost to Washington. You can't win a game at home. You lost a game 7 at home.
Yeah.
I mean, the Astros are a great organization at this point. We'll see what happens going forward, though.
Okay, you just mentioned a little bit about Dusty's legacy. I think that's the biggest thing about Dusty Baker, to show somebody with the decorum, with the etiquette, and his whole being and how he carried himself. It just showed very well, and it was good that the Astros were the last team to work with him and so forth. And he just put a good legacy out there. As you mentioned, his playing career, his managing career, and the way he carried himself. And that'll go down in the legacy and the history.
I mean, that's
Jeff, you have any comments on that?
Go ahead, Jeff.
Oh, yeah. Basically, it was disappointing. I mean, to be up 3-2, coming home, you're thinking all you got to do is win one of the last 2, and to lose both games. And then it's not just the fact that they lost both games. They didn't even compete. I mean, they lost those 2 games by a combined score of 20-6. I mean, that's ridiculous to lose those 2 games at home by a combined score of 20-6. But we have to move forward. They need more time to hitting. That team needs more time to hitting. They have times where they hit the ball at the park, and then they have times where they just can't lay a bunt, and they just don't have the consistent pitching or the consistent hitting in order to be able to be a World Series champion on a regular and consistent basis. But hey, they won last year. You can't expect them to win every year. So hey, I'm happy for them. Now they just got to make sure they come through and come up with the right hire. They need the right manager to take this team moving forward. So they got to make the right decision.
Well, we'll see what happens with the Astros. Let's talk about the NFL and the Texans. I think the Texans at this time are one of the more surprising teams. I put on the site and I've talked about how I did not know CJ Stroud was this good. I was, if you recall, Phil, I was saying they should have kept Davis Mills, but that
but what did I say?
Davis Mills.
Hello, walls and lights.
Brother Greg, my idea was to load up on the offensive and defensive lines, and I thought that boy Davis Mills was good, could get better. However, this boy with his talent, his quick pitches, his ability to roam, his timing, all of those particular things, he's better than Deshaun was, in my opinion.
Well,
I have so much respect for you for admitting what you just said, because that's exactly what you said. Now, didn't say I told you so, but I did say his experience in college in big games and that he was productive in a system. I didn't know he was going to do this, but I felt real comfortable what they had on the roster. And then him, but they had another veteran that was better than he should have said. But I looked at what they had and said to myself, how can you not play him?
The boy has talent. He has talent. His quick pitches on the passes and the timing to hit those receivers right in stride.
And think about the receivers he threw to in college. They're all getting contracts too. So that helps a lot. That helps a lot.
Well, he's turning Nico Collins into the man on the team. And then that boy Tank Dell is a good addition. So overall, the Texans, I can see them making the playoffs. I can see them winning the division. All of that is available. Jeff, what you say?
Hey, I'm very impressed with the Texans have done. I'm very happy with CJ Stroud. Houston's won 3 of the last 4 games, which is outstanding. They go into Carolina this weekend. You have the 2 rookie quarterbacks that went 1 and 2 in the draft, going head to head this weekend. So far, Stroud has a tremendous lead over Bryce Young. Stroud has passed for 1,660 yards with 9 TDs and 1 interception, whereas Bryce Young has passed for 967 yards, 6 TDs and 4 interceptions. So right now, Stroud is head and shoulders above Young right now. Now, let's talk about the injury report. Houston will be getting Denzel Perryman back, linebacker Denzel Perryman back. He hasn't played all season. So he's coming off the injury list. He should be back. He should be able to help. They're also getting Thomas back, the cornerback. They're getting Tank Dell back, the wide receiver. And they should be getting Xavier Hutchinson back. Now they have 2 of their 2 starting tackles, offensive tackles, are questionable. So it's really imperative that those 2 offensive tackles play, because that's what anchors that offensive line. So if they have those 2 tackles, then they should be able to win easily in Carolina. But they also would be missing. They also would be missing Robert Woods, starting wide receiver Robert Woods. So just letting you know, that's the updated injury report.
And that would help the running game, because that would even help him be even better, because they haven't got. And let me tell you, I had the running back on my fantasy team. I had to cut him. He was killing me. Pierce, goodness gracious. They get a little bit of running game, he'll be even more dangerous.
I think Pierce is still hurt, in my opinion.
You could put anybody back there. They're not running behind that line.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
Everybody else they put back there. Ain't nobody running behind that line.
That offensive line.
Greg, I want your predictions on who is going to win in the NFL. Give me 4 teams in the playoffs in the NFC, 4 teams in the playoffs in the AFC, and who are the teams that? Well, just give me those 2 scenarios, and then we'll go from there.
NFC is going to be Philadelphia, Dallas, Man, you know, the rest of it is a toss-up. Seattle might get up in there. I don't even know what to say about the rest of them because you want to say the Rams and you want to say.
I'm gonna throw Detroit in there.
I don't know that because Detroit is too inconsistent, man. I mean, Jared Goff have a good game, then he come back and throw 5 interceptions and blow the game at the end of the game. I love Detroit because they got like now he just like Phil was talking about Marshall. They got a team of talent over at Detroit, man. If Goff could just settle down and quit overthinking things, they could be at the top of the echelon right now, really. But
They're 5-2 though, aren't they?
Yeah. They still up there.
That's sort of the top of the echelon.
AFC, we're gonna go with Kansas City, of course, Baltimore. I don't know about Pittsburgh, but they're trying to inch their way up the ladder. And I'm gonna throw in there them Chargers, man, because they took a hard loss. I think they're gonna fight back strong.
I'm gonna throw in there the Texans on yours, but you got one more to add if you wanted to. So those are your 4 in both conferences.
Yeah.
Okay. Phil.
Well, AFC has got a lot of fluid motions going with those teams, but until somebody beat Kansas City, I mean, let's come on.
Yeah.
Baltimore is tough. They always tough. I love their coach. He knows what he's doing. He's been there a minute. Believe it or not, Jacksonville is nasty. They are. They're really going to be tough.
Texas beat them early in the year.
Yeah, that's fine. But Miami.
Bingo.
Yeah, you got to worry about Miami with that offense.
Absolutely.
You got to worry about Miami. If they come up with a defense, they're going to be hard.
But the thing of it is, they dealing with some injuries that might cost them. This
Yeah.
boy Tyree got this hip, and man, I tell you, in football, a hip injury can be one of the worst things.
It can end your career.
Yeah, it could end your career. And if it's serious and they trying to low key it, these next 3 or 4 games could cost them their slot, really.
Yeah. And in NFC, I like Dallas, Philly, Frisco, and Detroit.
Yeah. I didn't want to say Frisco because I'm a hater, man.
I hate them too. I hate them since Montana.
But they got a good team, you know.
There you go.
I just have to give it to them. That when they got Christian McCaffrey, that was all they needed. And I hated to see him trade Mozart because he's a good back.
Well, he helped me win a fantasy league before.
Yeah.
He helped me. But you see what he's doing? But the guy in Miami is from San Francisco. So you see what he did.
Yeah.
Also, the Texans coach is a product of San Francisco also, as well as the Texans.
He
has turned some things around. Jeff, talk about that. Talk about your 4.
All right. First of all, the Texans got more than just D'Amico Bryant from San Francisco. They got several of their coaches. He brought several guys over with him. All right. My top 4 in the AFC, I got the Kansas City Chiefs. I got the Buffalo Bills. I have the Baltimore Ravens, and I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are really coming on. The Jags are coming on. I know Houston beat them earlier this season, but that's one game. They are coming on now. So I got Jacksonville as my 4th best team. Over in the NFC, I have Philly. I have the San Francisco 49ers. I have the Detroit Lions, and I have the Dallas Cowboys. My Cowboys, I got to go with my Cowboys. I know we got to get it together, but I still think that we're one of the top 4 teams. We just got to get it together. I think we can get it together. We'll get it together.
Oh, yeah.
I will say San Francisco just waylaid Dallas, and that was horrible. And after that game, I have no confidence in the Cowboys.
Man,
I just have to say that.
I'm going to say this, and I'm not going to speak on the Cowboys. Mike McCarthy's job should be head coach, not head coach and offensive coordinator. That's the problem with the Dallas Cowboys offense. He cannot call play. I know he want to have a running game, but you got to be able to know when to mix this stuff up to score points and to keep your defense can't play the whole game, man. That's how the 49ers beat us.
They make you miss Boy Wonder, huh?
Oh, yeah. I miss Kellen Moore, man. I do.
Well, we look like, and we're halfway through the season. There should be a lot of surprises. Are there any teams that on the lower echelon that at the end of the year going to be there? Buffalo is now what, 4-3? They might have a chance to move up. I still think Green Bay or Chicago may be in the mix, but they first got to get past Detroit. I like the Texans again. I can't think of any other teams from other than the teams we mentioned. So I'm right with you all. I got a few changes, like the Texans. I think will get there.
Wait a minute, Carl. You got the Texans as one of your
strong team overall, and they got a running game, they got a passing game, and I think they're gonna figure it out even more. And so I think Philadelphia is gonna be there at the end. It might be Philadelphia and Kansas City again. I think that's the best two teams. We might have that scenario of those teams going back to back, and we'll see about that. But we're halfway through, and we'll check it out. Jeff, talk about your fantasy league and how we doing real quick.
Oh, hey, we're doing pretty good, man. Of course, we 7 weeks through the season, and right now, me and Darren General right now lead the pack at 24-16. We will be analyzing a total of 100 games through 18 weeks, and so far we threw 40 games. So we got another 60 games to go. If the season ended today, it would be Jeff Walker, it would be Darryl General, and it would be Elleris Dennis. Those would be the three guys that would be in the postseason. The rest of you guys will be going fishing. But hey, we still got another 2/3 of the season to go. So hey, there's still plenty of time to go.
All right. Well, thank you for that report, sir. Basketball has started, and it's so many different angles of this. Ben Simmons is playing this year. He's made a commitment. Is it going to make a difference? I watched a couple of games. I watched Golden State play against Phoenix. I watched the Lakers play against Denver. And the Lakers are good, going to make the playoffs, but they can't compete with Nikola Jokic at all. And they can talk all that mess, but that boy is super talented. He's big down low. He can shoot from the outside. He can dribble up the floor and pass the ball off. And he just devastates the Lakers in any conversation. Jeff, what is the Rockets report? Why did they lose by 30 to the Magic?
Well, it was amazing. I looked at both rosters, the Orlando Magic roster and the Rockets roster, and there's no way I would have thought that the Orlando Magic was 30 points better than the Rockets. I was just shocked. But what happened was Houston just got off to a bad start. Jabari Smith got in foul trouble early, and that really messed up the chemistry. That messed up our rotation, and he was completely ineffective because he got in foul trouble so early, and he was just timid the rest of the game because he's afraid of the fouls. And then Jalen Green was horrible, just horrible. Jalen was just horrible. They just had no type of cohesion, and when you have no cohesion and no chemistry, you're gonna suffer and you're gonna get blown out. Even by a team as weak as the Orlando Magic, they'll blow you out if you don't come to play. That team was not prepared to play. So they got outplayed as well as they got outcoached. They just were not prepared. The coach's job is to have his team mentally and physically prepared to play the game. And I don't think they were mentally or physically prepared to play the game. I don't know what they were thinking about. I don't know if something had happened in the locker room or what. Huh?
They were undefeated in preseason.
No, they went 3-1 in preseason, lost to San Antonio. As a matter of fact, Houston and San Antonio is playing right now. Houston and San Antonio just tipped off. They lost to San Antonio, and they won one and lost one to San Antonio.
So are you saying their regular season current game is on live right now?
Yeah, they just started. Okay. It's 4-4 right now.
I watched a little bit of Victor Wembanyama.
Right.
He looks good.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be a star.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
If he doesn't get hurt, I mean, he has the outside jumper. He can clog the lane. He can cover all areas. If he doesn't get hurt, he may be one of the best of all time.
Yeah,
he is so long. About the NBA.
Well, first of all, Orlando is not as bad as you might think. They got some talent, man. In the past, when we've talked about the Rockets on there, especially a month or two back, the guys and gals on here were pretty aggressive what they thought the Rockets would do. I'm not surprised. You get used to what you saw the other night. You're gonna see a lot more of that this year. I don't think it'll be that way going forward a lot, but you're gonna see a few more times of that. That happens to most teams. The NBA is a real strange fruit, man. As far as Wembanyama, it's not a matter of if he's gonna get hurt. He's gonna get hurt. It's a matter of when. This is how long he can go, 40, 50, 60 games, whatever. Some point it's gonna happen. It happens to the best. And he's not that big. It's men playing down there. He taking all them threes. He is a true talent. Probably gonna be runaway rookie of the year. I'd be shocked if somebody surprised him. But it's still early, like I said. And Pop, he's with the best coach he could be with. There's not a coach better to coach him to me than where he is. So he's gonna make that team instantly better. That's gonna be tough for the Rockets to get past, to be honest, because Pop is a good coach. Udoka is a good coach, but he needs a few more pieces to really put his type of players in place to play. And he don't have that right now. He got young players, and young players become better players as they age and play together. So that's what I see the Rockets doing. I don't think many people on the panel that we've had said they want to make the playoff, especially you, Jeffrey. I see you smiling. But I can't see a playoff spot. I just can't see it, not this year.
Wait a minute. Well, you said I said it's gonna make the playoffs? I said it?
I'm saying it.
No, I said it's gonna win 40 games. I never said it's gonna make the playoffs.
But you thought 40 games might get you in the playoff in the West. The end of your comment on the past.
I may have said the 10th seed, a play-in, but not a regular top 8 seed. No.
I think they gonna get 7th seed.
It's still playoffs. I'm just saying I don't see that in the foreseeable future. That's all. I could be wrong.
Okay.
What's gonna hurt the Rockets is they don't have a true big man. They got to get somebody that's gonna man the center of the flow, man. A shot blocker. Sagoon is a good post player, good. He's good for a stretch, but he's not a dominant factor in the middle of the flow, man. He can't deal with nobody like Antetokounmpo and the boy over there, Jokic, man. He can't deal with them guys, man.
And that plays to what I said. They need pieces. That's one of them.
They need
absolutely
some pieces.
Right.
And the boy down there in San Antonio, he's got talent, but I want to see how he's going to play once they buck him up, because they're going to have to put a little weight on him.
Yeah,
on the main
that won't be this year. I can promise you.
Yeah.
It's going to take a little while. He's going to be okay.
Brother Greg.
Yes, sir.
Them getting rid of Kevin Porter, was that good? Was it necessary? Is it going to affect the team? He was a young brother, put up 50 in a couple of games before, but maybe they saw something that they didn't like and they ate that contract to a certain extent unless they can void it. What's your comment on that?
Well, my comment on that is that I believe that whole incident was staged to be a scapegoat, man. It had to be some contract disputes, or he wanted more money, or he didn't want to vie to what they wanted him, the role they wanted to give him. Something caused that, because you don't give up a player like that, man. That dude had talent. He was a good player. And the whole situation with this young lady, man, I don't see that as really the way it went down. I wasn't there, I can't say it, but I believe it's a whole lot more behind the scene. It's just like when the same situation in Philadelphia with Murray and Harden, man. Harden is a great player, but he's known to create friction with the management. And if you're gonna get in the league and you want to stay in the league and be successful, you got to know how to model your attitude to be able to deal business-wise with these guys. Otherwise, they're gonna find a way to put you on the bus out of town.
Amen to that.
Go ahead, comment on that, Jeff.
Basically, they didn't eat the contract. They traded him to OKC. So OKC ate the contract. Houston, in return, sent OKC 2 future second-round picks. Houston got back 2 players that they're not going to use. They got back a guy named Robinson Earl, who they've already cut. I thought he could play. I was surprised they cut him. They could have used him. He's 6'9". He can hit the 3. He can get some rebounds, but they cut him. So anyway, it is what it is. So, and then they also got Oladipo. Well, Oladipo is hurt. He's going to probably be out most of the year. When I'm hearing they're going to probably end up trading his contract because he's in the last year of his contract. That's $9.5 million. They felt like it would be easier later to trade Oladipo's contract. That's 1 year, $9.5 million, than it would be to trade Porter's contract that's 1 year, say 16 million. So that's why they make that move. And they also wanted to get from behind Kevin Porter. They didn't want to have any affiliation with him anymore. When you're beating up women and got them bleeding like that, they just can't afford. It messes up your team. It just messes up your whole brain.
That the girl has made a statement to say that, hey, y'all are getting this all wrong. It didn't happen like that. Did you hear her statement? Did you read her story?
Yes, I heard. The only problem is, go ahead.
General said, and I think Alan Freeman said, when it gets to this point and it's in the media, it's past the point where she should have said that immediately.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that, Carl. I was just about to say that. Why is she waiting until now? Why is she waiting until now to clarify things? Why she didn't do that initially?
So she probably thought she was going to get her way out of it.
That's right, Phil. It's called a check. That's what it is.
Ching-ching, exactly. Ching-ching. Yeah.
She didn't realize the depth of what was going to happen. Now, let's say the brother did do it. He did do it. And that, of course, delayed her because she wanted some revenge on him for treating her like that. However, she didn't want to go all the way to have his money become up missing. And at the end of the day, they both messed up. I just say that. Phil, you have a comment on that?
Yeah, he was risky business from the jump street. You know, he's a good player, but you knew what you was getting. He came from Cleveland, everywhere he's been, with some issues. That's the risk you take on good play. He's not a great player, he's a good player. He could become great had he ever tempered his personality and put his skill set with the coaching he could be getting right now to become the guy he needs to be. But hey, incidents like that, false, fiction, true, it ain't good.
Yeah, it's not.
Very much so. And looks like from the Rockets' perspective, it is a done deal unless some kind of way Oklahoma City voids the trade.
Oh no, you can't do that. That's over. That was a while back. That's over.
Okay,
that trade's
it's
done.
over. And we'll see if he ever plays again in the league. However,
he'll be back. He'll be back. Trust me.
Because I was about to say, the boy in San Antonio, Primo, has got a contract back in the league. And if he can get back in the league, anybody can get back in the league. If you're not familiar with Primo, he undressed several times in front of the female therapist. And was, trying to engage her. And she told the Spurs about it. And of course, they tried to, at first, whitewash it, get past it. But then she sued them and they said, okay, we got to let him go. And he's a very talented player from what I understand. But nobody's bigger than the game. And that's what James Harden has to understand that.
That's right.
He is not bigger than the game. And his skills are depleted. He may,
man, these checks
Latrell Sprewell.
These checks for these guys now have given them a ego, man, that's just taking them to another place, man. These hundreds and 200 millions and all of these things, man, they get beside themselves, man. They forget about the game because they think they are the game. They making so much money, they figure, and a lot of these younger players, nobody took the time to school them on how to invest your money properly and make it work for you. And so now they buying lavish things, spending all their money. I looked at an article the other day where 24 retired NFL players all broke. And some of these guys are known NFL Super Bowl champions. They are broke. Warren Sapp. They even had Michael Vick on there, even though he done bounced back and got a job with ESPN. They spent all their money, man, because nobody taught. It's just a thing that's just gonna hurt these kids. If like right now, they just start playing these college guys. They need to implement some type of business a program within the athletic department to teach these guys how to handle this money, man.
Well, two things.
I gotta jump in here. You mentioned about the NIL and them paying college athletes now. remember a time when they totally exploited the college athlete for many years. You got Ohio State and Michigan making billions of dollars, and the athlete is having a hard time eating.
Have a hard time eating and can't pay for his books. He's supposed to have a scholarship, but he got to go to the bookstore and call the coach. I know some that went through that, man.
Well, a couple of things here. Remember I told you the story about Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, the Fab Five, when they couldn't afford McDonald's, but their jersey was in the bookstore selling for a couple $100.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was way before NIL. Two, Sapp is going to get a job at Colorado helping Deion next year. Ain't that something to have a partner to look out for you like that?
Look out for you like
and
that.
Three,
Exactly.
Gregory hit a trigger for me that every time I hear this word, this is what I go to. He said they got ego. To me, ego will always be easing God out. Do we need to say anything more after that? When you do that, where do you stand, in my opinion?
And that's one thing I applaud Deion for, man, the way he's implementing God in that program up there amongst those mixture of not just the athletes, but the school, the student body. It's sending a statement to the whole NCAA, you know what I mean?
And the state of Colorado.
And the state of Colorado.
Have you all seen the commercial?
Which has very few people that look like us.
That's right.
That's true. Have you seen the commercial with, he's not in the commercial until the end, but it's Colorado University commercial. They said, we got a prime location. We have a prime education. Everything is about prime. And at the end, he shows up.
I look forward to
this is
seeing
the
that.
colleges, the academic institutions commercial. So he's affected everything.
Yes.
My opinion is next 2 years, he'll be in the NFL. What do you think about that?
I think he's gonna try one more college.
Pump your brakes, guys.
Huh?
Pump your brakes, guys. Go ahead, Greg, and finish, and then I'll comment. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, I believe he's gonna try one more college because from the framework and the way he's doing things, he's trying, like he's reached back for Warren. He got a couple more friends he's trying to get into the system with him, man. Because the way he's running this program is outstanding. If you just watch at it, you know what I'm saying? And the way he deal with the coaches and the kids when they make mistakes, man, you don't normally see that from a head coach in college or NFL. And that's bringing a change to the way these coaches dealing with these young men, because a lot of times they forget these are still kids, man. They 19 years old, most of them, 18, 19 years old. And you're trying to teach them how to be a man. So you got to treat them like a young man before you treat them like a grown man.
Understood. Greg, I believe that Deion will stay at Colorado until he's offered a NFL job. That's just my opinion. But he's still, as long as Shanur and Shiloh are eligible, he's going to be at Colorado. That's my opinion. And then
Shador,
they finish, he's going to go to the pros. Yes?
Shador has another year, but Shiloh is going to be, he's already graduated actually from Jackson State.
I thought Shador was the one that graduated, the quarterback.
No, it's Shiloh.
And I thought he got another son too.
Oh, okay. I got him back there. I got him twisted in.
All right, guys, let me give you my take. Let me give you my take on this Deion Sanders, Colorado University situation. All right, now they got off to a 3-0 start, so everything was looking good. Deion looked like he was just touching, everything he touched was going to be gold, just gold. But now, all of a sudden, he's lost 3 of his last 4 games. So now they're sitting at 4-3. And now, all of a sudden, you got to play UCLA tomorrow. UCLA is 5-2. I don't think Colorado's going to beat UCLA. So he loses that game, he goes to 4-4, which means he's lost 4 of his last 5 games. Next week, they got Oregon State next week. That's number 11th ranked team in the state, in the country. They lose that, they could be sitting at 4-5, which means he's lost 5 of his last 6 games. So pump your brakes on NFL talk. Let him first master what he's doing at Colorado first, guys. I think you guys pumping, y'all going a little bit too fast.
No, you know what?
I disagree. Go ahead, Greg.
He's at 4-3 right now, but it's because of them. It wasn't because they got beat. They beat themselves. Man, do you know they was beating that team 29-0 at halftime?
Stanford.
Come on, man. It had to be too many mistakes. Now that's things that you got to change in practice on the field. It's not the production on the field. Those are just breakdown errors that should not happen with that type of league. Come on, man. And then the other two games, one of them they should have won. They could have easily won that game against our
Arizona State.
Arizona, yeah. But when that boy, that Travis Hunter, man, that boy there is something special. You know, and I don't really ride high coach on players because so many of them got talents in different areas. But this boy here, man, he's a thoroughbred for real, if you know what I'm talking about. And if you can play all game, both sides of the ball, and make something positive happen on each side of the ball, hey, you something special.
Hey, Greg, I totally agree, but I got to give it to you. That wide receiver from Stanford gave it to him, though, man.
Yeah,
and it wasn't no if and but.
Secondary
Now, he playing them different positions, but I'm okay with that because I agree with everything you said about him. But that should humble you a little bit. Let you know there's some guys out, but that guy gave it to him. And it wasn't no whole lot of if and buts and alls about him.
That's
He
what I'm saying.
he almost had 300 yards in receiver.
That's
more than half of it was with Travis straight up. And that's what I had a hard time swallowing. So I agree with you saying.
I'm old school. There's no way that I'm gonna be a defensive back, a cornerback, or a safety, and I'm gonna let this one receiver catch for 300 yards on me. Ain't no way. You know what I'm saying? Something got to go down. You know what I'm saying?
Most of it was the second half. It started right before half,
yeah,
all the way the rest of the game.
You know this,
and it was his first game back. It was his first game back. I get that. I mean, like I said, if you lined them up like that regularly, Travis every time. I mean, but that particular night was that guy.
Yeah, he got the business, man.
But as a coach, when do you adjust your defense to accommodate for that?
Yeah. See, and that's one of the things that I noticed about Dion. He never really go to his offensive coach and say much. He never go to his defense. He tried to do it all in practice, but on the sideline doing game, you never see him confront his defensive coach or his offensive coach about a breakdown.
I would want to be coached as I was his coach or a player.
Right.
The little bit of time I've coached Little League, this, that, and the other, come game time, I am not going to embarrass you. I'm not going to let you embarrass me. But in practice, if you don't want your parents there to hear me say certain things, get your son, get your daughter, go. Because this is where you learn. Practice is the place where you do the best work.
That's it.
And I learned that from Fritz Greer at the YMCA at a young age.
Yeah, you practice, play like you practice
all day long. And I gave you a roll call of the guys that played at the Y and went to Yates and went on further. We could do this for a show by itself.
Yeah.
I say this about Deion Sanders. This is his first year. Of course, it was going to be some challenges. He's made a good representation with what he had, but we couldn't be expected to come in there and just roll over everybody like Oregon and USC. These programs were entrenched, and so he's come in to be a part of the competition, but he's not going to be the man yet. But I think give him another couple of years, he'll be right up there with the top echelon as far as, top rank and so forth. And then after that, he'll go.
He didn't even get a full recruiting class.
We are at the halfway point of Sunny Side Sports Take Live with Jeff Walker. This, I believe, Jeff, is our 6th episode. We are going to continue this program, this presentation that we do. We're going to get better and stronger, and we're going to bring in more guests. We're supposed to have a couple of more guests tonight. I guess they were not able to make it, but this show is open to talk sports with a wide population of people. We have talked about golf, we have talked about tennis, and we talk about all sports. The nature of boxing now, we got a fight coming up, a heavyweight fight, Tyson Fury against Francis. Anybody know that name?
Yeah, Ngannou.
Okay. Does he have a chance against Tyson Fury? And where is the future of boxing going? Throw me a couple of names out too.
Well, this fight is not for a title. It's just not an exhibition, but he's going to fight another guy for the title. This is Ndundu's first fight ever. He was an MMA guy or whatever you call that, mixed martial arts. He's not a true boxer, but he's gotten an opportunity because he's a big, strong guy. Has a hell of a story if you read about him or see any stories about him. But if Tyson Fury loses to this guy, even if it don't matter, I mean, it's still a bad look for boxing and him.
Very bad look.
Yeah, so I don't think he's gonna lose. I think Ngannou's gonna go in there and put up a pretty good little fight, but he ain't never been hit like he's gonna get hit by Fury. I'm not a big Fury guy, but he's a big dude. And what I saw him do Wilder twice, I don't think Ngannou got Wilder's boxing skills.
No, 3 times for Wilder. That was 3 times.
However many times, it still was ugly every time. And
Very
nobody did that to Wilder. Wilder was the one administering the punishment. He took some, but he did lay Fury out, and they missed that count by 1 or 2 beats, and that would have been it.
Fury had lost that fight. Fury lost that fight.
Yeah, he did. He got a long time to lay on that mat and think about it. And they let him up about 1 or 2 counts. He would have been, wasn't really just 1 count. He would have been out. But the other times, you know, he didn't even come close to beating Fury. Fury just punished him.
Fury's so big, the guy, and he leans on you. The guy's 6'9", 280, and he leans on you, and he tires you out. He tires Wilder out, and Wilder just wears down because he leans on him, and he just tires you out. It fatigues you, and when you fatigue, it makes cowards out of you.
A la Larry Foreman, Larry Holmes. You know, Holmes was a big guy. He lean on you, being away.
Yep.
I saw Larry happening in boxing. Phil, you keep up with it from other areas, other categories.
Well, the welterweights and the super welterweights, and then of course you have the lightweight. That's a tough division. There's a lot of guys can punish you down in that area. Devontae Davis, man, you couldn't pay me to fight him. That dude is a beast, man. And then of course you got pretty boy Shakur Stevenson. I like to see them fight. But the fight between Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, when they fight this time, going to be a little heavier. And it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, that was in the clause for them to fight again. Of course, Crawford dominated him, but he looked like a scarecrow. Spence did. But Spence would have to really make a miraculous comeback to beat Crawford. Not that Crawford's all of that. And then you just saw where our hometown, Jamal Charlo against big boy Mexican Canelo, and Canelo just ran him around the ring, you know. He got his check. Now he can shut up, but he's good, but he wasn't ready.
Charlo didn't even look like he was trying to compete. It looked like Charlo was just trying to survive. He was just trying not to get knocked out.
Don't he have a brother boxing?
Yeah, it's 2 of them.
It's twins. It's twins.
Exactly.
Now I'm hearing Crawford trying to fight Canelo. I'm like, oh,
that ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen.
No, dude, you don't want to fight Canelo.
That ain't gonna happen.
Did anything happen?
He just want a big paycheck. I don't blame him though. He don't. Yeah, he want a big pay. He think he's 35. His time is short. You know, he didn't do the fights when he was younger.
Did anything happen with the Clarissa Shields talking about fighting a man?
Oh no, man, that was an exhibition. We talked about that last time. Hey, Clarissa got her hands full with a few of them women out there, but I like her though. She don't play around. She get them in there, and she really puts some punishment on them. But it's a couple of little foreign girls been talking trash to her, so we'll see how they do. None of them beat her yet.
What about Layla Ali? What about Layla Ali coming out of retirement to fight her? You think she got a shot? Or is it too old? Is it just too much time to go by?
She's too old. Okay. I mean, she's a bad girl, but yeah, she didn't have babies. And Layla, stay home.
Check her. It'd be too hard for her to get back in condition.
Yeah, she should stay home now. But for as just a skill set, boy, I wouldn't. If she was in her prime, nah, she would win.
You think she'd be girl? Should be Shields? You think she'd be Shields?
Yeah, in her prime,
in her prime, I think so too.
It wouldn't be easy, but she would do it because trust me, if her daddy is in the corner or in the ring anywhere, she ain't losing. Just sitting there.
She went undefeated during her time.
She did, and she had a couple of close calls, but she eventually pulled them out by knockout, mind you, too.
Yeah.
Hey, Carl, we didn't we didn't say what our top 4 NBA teams were in each conference. You want to do that?
It's real early yet for that, Jeff.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right.
Let's talk about some surprise teams, what you think, or let's just say the top 8 in the East, the top 8 in the West. Basically, I guess that's what you're saying.
Now I was gonna go with the top 4. That's easy.
That'd be easier.
Yeah,
okay, let's do the top 4. Of course, we know 8 make the playoffs, though.
But in the NBA?
Yeah.
We're just going to your top 4 teams in the East, your top 4 teams in
It's
the
kind
West.
of hard to pick top 4 right now because they all
just give it a whirl, fellas.
It's just a matter of what do you think? Who you think is the 4 best teams in each conference?
Yeah.
It could be
well.
Okay, I'll go first. In the West, I'm gonna go with the Lakers, the Suns, the Nuggets, and the Warriors. Over in the East,
okay, I don't say no more. That's mine right there too. So I don't have to.
Okay. Over in the East, I go with the Milwaukee Bucks, the Philadelphia 76ers. I go with the Boston Celtics. And man, that 4th one's gonna be between the Heat and Cleveland. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Heat. So that was my 4 teams in the East. All right, go ahead, guys.
I'm just
going to say the same ones for as the West: Denver, Phoenix, LA, and Golden State. But in the West, I'm gonna go with Celtics, Bucks, Philly, and Cleveland.
I'm gonna agree with you on Cleveland. I think
like
that
Cleveland.
this is their year. I think Evan Mobley is going to border on all-star. But in the West, I think you got to consider Oklahoma City with Chet Holmgren having put on that weight, and he's a dominant type of figure. But the real key is Gia Alexander, however you pronounce his name. My name is Alexander, and I can't pronounce it.
He's a bad boy. He's a bad boy.
He a bad boy. And what he did in the, and of course, you know, we had this conversation last time about the international players versus the American players. He's an international player from Canada, but I think he's at such a level that he is going to take it to the next level. And we are going to be joined now by our guest for our show that is coming up, and we'll allow him to join us for our last segment before we go into his. Brother Dennis Brantley from Ebony Worthing from Law Elementary back in the day, and from Hillwood and Cloverland. My brother from many years ago, as I said, elementary, actually kindergarten, I believe. I think we was in kindergarten together. But our sports show has taken a few changes and things, but it's going to be bigger, better, and moving forward, we're going to have even more topics that we're talking about. Let me introduce Dennis. Dennis, are you there? He's not there yet. Okay. Well, we have talked about most things. What do we see in the worlds of tennis and the world of golf? We talked about LIV and how they have affected the purse strings of golf. We have talked about the Black progress in tennis. Of course, Serena and Venus were really the force that took it to another level. It looks like we now have a number of Black male tennis players that are putting pressure on the competitive tennis world and may rise up. But we have so many basketball players, we don't have very many in golf and tennis. Why is that, Phil?
Well, you have to start at an early age in those type sports, and they cost a little bit more money than most of us can afford to spend and participate. But it's a lot more easier now, from what I understand, because I know when I was coming up, that was something that just wasn't something you pursued. But the ones who did usually came from a reasonably affluent family, and we looked at them a little different. We like to get rough and tough, you know. But tennis and golf were now considered different type of sports. You know how much money you can make at them. That young Ben Shelton, though, that's a bad cat.
Who?
Ben Shelton. He did real good at the U.S. Open this year. Of course, you have little young Coco. And you have some other players who's been around, Stevenson, and there's a few other male and female. The young man that did good at Wimbledon, I can't recall his name right now. He had a big splash. So tennis and golf, not something we do a lot of, especially golf, but we getting there. Tiger brought the rush, but to sustain it and keep doing it, I mean, you got guys on the golf course every day. I mean, guys who normally wouldn't, but I know for a fact that it's a tough pill to swallow when you don't have the money to do that kind of stuff. You really want to.
Right. That's right.
Understood. I think the world of sports overall is changing. And the Black athlete, of course, is one of the main reasons why, and the freedom that we have today, the foresight of investment and the changing landscape. NIL is changing so many things because these young boys are starting to have a mindset of, okay, I can play sports and earn money, and I can do it very early. And so they're starting to think from that perspective. So it's so many different aspects of it. We are toward the end of our show. Brother Gregory, give us the state of sports and tell us how, if somebody wants to talk to you online or somewhere and talk sports, how can they do that?
Well, you can reach me on Facebook, Nauls, at Nauls. And the state of sports right now, like you say, man, the way the neighborhoods are. Say, for instance, we all grew up in Sunnyside, South Park. Everybody's commuting out. They're moving out of the neighborhood. So they're scaring these kids out and putting them in different schools and giving them different avenues. And that's making it a little more susceptible for them to come to like golf, tennis, because when we grew up, our parents was watching football and basketball and baseball. So we come to love that. That's what was on the TV. But parents now that's living out in the outer skirts of town, they got these high dollar jobs. Their kids are more susceptible to stay after school to play tennis, to learn tennis, to get on the golf course with dad on the weekend, just because that's something that he picked up because of his job. And now it's become a family trait. So it's evolving into a whole different world for these kids now. And now that the money sack has been laid on the table, it's giving them a different mindset. I don't have to go out here and get a broke leg and blow out my knee to make $1 million. I can get a club in my hand and putt, or I can get a tennis racket out here and maybe stretch a groin every now and then, but nobody's physically beating me up. So the whole sports world is evolving around to become more business minded, as you would say.
Very much so. I understand. Phil, your final statement.
Well, there's so many things you can do. And I'm a big advocate of youth sports. The sooner, the better. I mean, there's a lot of people catch on at the end and become great athletes, but I just think the character, the camaraderie, the friendships, the relationships, and all the things you can learn with the right coaching, the right atmosphere, the competition. Boy, I got some stories I could give you about that kind of stuff from early childhood all the way through high school, which was great. I wouldn't probably be sitting here before you now had I not had those opportunities or took those opportunities and been around the people and the places and things that I experienced. But at the same time, you can make it at any endeavor. I got 7 grandkids, and man, I know I'm gonna have some special kids out of there already. I got artists, I got soccer players, I got football players. It's a beautiful thing to watch in the spectrum of all the kids that are out here doing things. So yeah, I think sports is positive. The only negatives are what you allow, and the ones that are with the right people to structure you'll get through all that. Just have a good time at it. And of course, that as you advance, the competition advances. So don't get down when you're not the best one. So that's what I always encourage kids, win without bragging, lose without crying, and be ready to compete the first opportunity you get.
Thank you very much. Those sound like very powerful words of wisdom for the young people today, and just life lessons, period, across the board. So we're very thankful. Mr. President, the final word.
Final word is, hey man, the sports world is as lit as it's always been, and it's even more so. The salaries are going up. Football salaries are going up. Basketball salaries are going up. Everybody's salaries are going up. Baseball salaries are going up. Everybody's salaries are going up, but the WNBA. So I would like to see them do something for the WNBA. Help the ladies out. Come up with some way where they can improve and increase the salaries for the WNBA players. Everybody else getting pay raises. You can get a ladies a pay raise, but other than that, hey, everything is great.
That sounds like charity, though. That sounds like charity. If the gate doesn't bring in that amount of money, or the TV contract doesn't bring in that amount of money, it's basically charity.
Because they're not promoting the game enough, Carl. You have to promote the game. They promote the NBA. Every time you look around, they promote the NBA. They don't promote the WNBA enough. So if you don't promote the product, then you're not going to be able to have a successful product if it's not being promoted.
I think it'll be a better year for them just coming up, because you see the guys from the NBA starting to fall in and support them more. And that's going to bring in a bigger fan base. And as I was watching the WNBA championships on the TV, you could see a little more bigger crowd, a little more enthusiastic crowd. So I think it's going to evolve eventually, and they're going to start getting paid like they should do, because they putting in the same work. I mean, you know, it's a different gender, but hey, it's the same game, you know.
Hey, but did y'all see the celebration? I sent you, Jeffrey. I sent you, Carl. They know how to celebrate. I bet you that.
Hey,
Las Vegas repeated, mind you. They have a repeat champion for the first time since the Comets. Well, I shared it with the team. LA, I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Let's see if Brother Dennis Bradley would like to share. DD.
Yes.
Hey, sir. We are finishing up our previous episode. I wanted to know if you wanted to comment on the state of sports, as you've heard everybody share.
I think all the guys are correct. You know that the way the NIL deal and more television stations and the money is there, the opportunity is there. I just wish it was like that 20, 30 years ago, but the opportunity is there. You just got to take advantage of it. And the parents got to do a better job of making sure that when they are getting their kids involved in these particular things, don't make it just about the money, because that's going to burn them out. Make it about being the best they can possibly be and enjoying themselves. You know, the money will come if you train them the right way.
Thank you very much. This finishes our first segment, Sunny Side Live with Jeff Walker, and we will consistently put a product out there. We will consistently talk about sports, and we are about to go into our spotlight, but I want to say thank you to my guests. You are welcome to stay, but if you would like to go and do something else, we appreciate the time that you shared with us. We are about to do our spotlight with our sports legend, Dennis Brantley, who we thank for coming on the show. I thank you, Phil. I thank you, Greg, Mr. President. Thank you, everybody, and we appreciate it. And we are about to get started in 5 minutes. We have a 5-minute break.
All right, guys, have a great show. Enjoy.